Hi, everybody. It has been a little bit of a minute since I have filmed a podcast episode, and for that, I do apologize. I feel like October is such a busy month for me, and I'm just trying to be in the moment and enjoy the fall time, so I apologize, but here I am back. So where have I been? I really do apologize for the lack of content, especially here on YouTube. I prioritize my Instagram and my TikTok because I just have larger followings on there, and that is where I'm most likely to be monetarily compensated. I do feel like I have been maxing out my emotional, mental, physical capabilities a little bit, so my content has been lacking, and like I said, apologize for that. Financially, we're not doing the best, which I think a lot of people across the world can resonate with right now. Long story short, I've had to prioritize my freelance work, and if you aren't familiar, I am a social media manager for some small businesses, so I help them generate ideas, film content, and edit weekly content plans for them. So that has been taking up a lot of my time on top of regular life circumstances. My freelance work is dependable income, so I have to pour a lot more energy into that despite my own wants and wishes to be creating my own content. So that's sort of where I've been. Gotta make money. It's a capitalist world, what can I say? And in addition to work stuff, as you can tell by the title of this podcast episode, I have been dating. And dating is so time consuming, from physically finding people on the apps to setting up the dates to going on the dates to talking to all these people. Your girl is a little bit low energy, so to have all that going on doesn't leave much time for the rest of things. But it's been fun, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. So what else is new? I got 2 new tattoos last week. So exciting. This artist is Ricky Sunshine. He's based in LA. He did my sparrow on my arm, my chains on my knees, and the dagger on my calf. And this time I got my first torso tattoo, which was a Pegasus. And I got a little elbow piece to sort of match my knees, which is like these chains that are spiky. Super cool. The pain honestly wasn't too bad. My knees hurt a lot more than my torso or my elbow. For the elbow piece, I was laying flat, and for whatever reason, that was making me feel a bit faint, but the pain itself wasn't that bad. And the torso was okay. Towards the outer ribs is where it got really sensitive, but we breathed through it, we made it out, and now I look 10% cooler. I love to see my arm filling up. I feel like it's looking a lot more balanced and cohesive, and it's just so fun. Ricky custom draws these up for me, so if you like the look of them, definitely check him out. He travels a lot, so sometimes he's in New York, and he's the sweetest and most talented, so definitely check him out. What else is new is fucking daylight savings. You dirty hooker. Whoever decided on daylight savings, jail time. Genuinely, execution. Guys, the Prozac can only do so much. The antidepressants can only carry me so far. The sun has been setting at 4:35, it is pitch black dark out. I want to be in bed at 6 p.m. I want to be curled up and asleep at 6 p.m., which is not good for the mental health or my sleep schedule. This year is feeling a lot worse than it ever has before. I just feel like I got smacked in the face with it, and maybe that's living alone. But it is trying my mental health. Seriously, I don't know how to survive this, and it's only going to get worse. If you followed me for a while or know anything about my life, walking has become a huge, essential part of my mental routine, my physical routine, just getting out of the apartment. And now that the sun sets so early, I'm less inclined to go on my walks, and also it's quite cold out. Perhaps this is just the shift in the seasons and I will readjust and get used to it, but it is shocking me a little bit. During the warmer months, I loved a little pre-dinner, post-dinner walkies. It's just a nice way to get my energy out before bedtime. But now I do not want to leave my house. I want to be curled up in bed at 6 p.m. So, trying to combat that, I've been slightly considering getting a walking pad, which to me was always a ridiculous idea as someone who lives in an incredibly walkable city. I can take a step outside and walk the same as I would on a walking pad. But the sun's setting early and the colder weather is sort of having me consider it. I think it would be nice to just like be in the safety of my own home and pull it out and get some movement in. But I'm also scared to like invest in a walking pad and barely get any use out of it. And also it's a very big thing to store, and I do not have much storage in this little apartment. So things to consider, but I'm really like feeling shook up in my routine a little bit. So I want to try and re-grasp that, and I think that will help me going into these colder months. It was Halloween last weekend, and again, if you know anything about me, Halloween is my favorite holiday. I love Halloween. I am so sad that it's over. I feel like it came and went so fast this year. For my costume, I ended up being Britney Spears from the Oops, I Did It Again music video. So it's like the red latex jumpsuit where she's an alien. I will insert a picture here, and y'all, I ate this up. Like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I slayed the makeup. I slayed the outfit. I did a little bit of the dancey dance. It was so fun. Surprisingly, not that many people recognized me. I got like Totally Spies. I got Mrs. Incredible. I was slightly offended. I'm like, how do you guys not recognize this iconic Britney look? But truly, it might be one of my best costumes to date. I think in my smiling pictures, I look a bit like Britney, which is super fun. I literally bought this jumpsuit custom off of Etsy. It is all my exact measurements from my arm circumference, from my crotch to my shoulders to like all those kinds of things. So sister was tight, but it was so fun. I love dressing up. I love playing a character. So I had so many spooky movies I wanted to watch, and I got through maybe like 3. Spooky season is just too short. What else has been going on? You may have seen this on Instagram or TikTok already, but my apartment flooded. Yes. My apartment flooded through the walls. We had a crazy storm last week, and I was actually taking a nap, as I do, taking a little midday snooze. And before I even opened my eyes, I hear what sounds like rain in my apartment. I'm like, oh my God, did I leave a window open? Like, what's happening? I'm jolted awake. I look over. Rain is literally like coming from the walls. I don't even know how to describe it. My window is completely closed. Rain is coming through like the seams of the outside of the window, or like the molding. Water is gushing from like the windowsill molding. I had no idea what to do. I just like sort of stared at it blankly, texted my super and was like, this is happening. Oh, the joys of living in New York City in a pre-war apartment. As you know, I've had some trials and tribulations thus far, and this one's up there. I basically soaked up all the water I could with my towels, but what was really gross about it is the water that was coming through is basically like filled with dirt and wall sediment. Like it was gray, and even when the water was gone, my floor is just like covered in like dirt and particles. I don't know how to describe it. It was definitely upsetting. I think my AC machine is broken, which is a huge bummer because I just bought it in August. It's like a $600 AC machine. It also got on these like custom blinds that I ordered, so there was some damage. But what I'm most concerned about is that there's now gonna be mold in my walls. So if I start getting sick, we know what happened. My super was supposed to send someone to come and check it out, and they canceled. So don't know what's happening there. Sometimes being an independent girl boss who has to handle all these things by herself is a little challenging. I wouldn't change it for the world, but it can be a little bit of a struggle. But on the bright side of things, the AC machine that I bought is from Windmill, and they saw the video and they reached out and they said they're going to send me a new AC machine, an air purifier, and a mold test. Okay, Windmill Air, you icons. So at least something is going to be fixed from this, and I appreciate them doing that for me so much. And I actually love this machine, so not sponsored, but I would promote them 100 times over. They're fantastic. And they care about my health, so I appreciate y'all. Though spooky season has quickly come and gone, I'm still living my fall fantasy. And I've been rewatching all of American Horror Story to sort of get into the vibes. It's like a good background show. A lot of people don't like season 5, which is Hotel, but it's sort of one of my favorites. But I think it's mostly due to Lady Gaga's character as the Countess. She's sort of like the sexy vampire woman with boy toys who wear eyeliner, which is essentially what I want to be. If you've ever wanted to see the hottest, horniest scene in television history, let me put you on American Horror Story Season 5, Episode 1, 26 minutes and 21 seconds in. You're welcome. Don't say I never gave you anything. If you're not going to go watch it, It's basically the Countess and her little man getting ready for a night out where they seduce another couple. And I'll leave it at that. It's so hot, it's so glamorous, it's so cunty, and that scene features a song from the band She Wants Revenge, again, one of the horniest bands, and I love them. Tear You Apart, such a good song. Probably one of my top songs for a few years now. So good. Anyway, enjoy. Emma Watson went on Jay Shetty's podcast, and I haven't had a chance to watch the full thing, but I've been seeing tons of clips on TikTok. I find it incredibly fascinating to hear her struggles with loneliness and dating. Let me make one thing clear. If Emma Watson struggles to find a partner, I am in fantastic company. I'm in great company. She is so thoughtful, so beautiful, so intelligent, so kind. It just continues to bring to light this theme, which was an episode on Sex and the City, of just how many beautiful, successful, talented women there are who can't find partners. Nearly all of my friends are single. Brittany Broski, who is a content creator I look up to tremendously, who is so funny, so witty, again, smart, beautiful, all of the things. So many women struggle to find partners. And the one commonality I can find amongst these women are just how successful and accomplished they are. Not to say women in relationships aren't accomplished, because they certainly are as well. I just see these women and I wonder how they're not snatched up already, or even people give me that feedback wondering how I remain single. And it just has to be a reflection of today's culture. Florence and the Machine just came out with an insane album talking about her frustrations with some of these themes. So I wanted to read you some lyrics from her song, One of the Greats. And you could have me if you weren't so afraid of me. It's funny how men don't find power very sexy. So this one's for the ladies. Do I drive you crazy? Did I get it right? I am obsessed with this line. I think I personally experience this quite a bit. I'm not trying to say this in an egocentric way, but I do think I am powerful. I live an extremely fulfilling life, and it's one that I've built all on my own. And I don't know if that's necessarily intimidating for people, but I do think there's a sense of intimidation from men, or maybe even jealousy of that power and that respect that these important women demand. And then for the line, so this one's for the ladies, do I drive you crazy? Florence said, I wanted women to feel just like how grateful I am for them, and thank God for them at my shows, I think they'll really get into it with you. They will dress up, they will dance with you. It made me feel so kind of safe, I think, as a performer, to explore different ways of performing. I just wanted to be thank you so much. Oh my God, I've been holding this wrong the entire time. Sorry, I've been holding my phone upside down, so if the audio just sucked, my bad. I relate to this line so much as well. My audiences on social media are primarily women, and I feel like they see me so clearly and respect me and give me that love that I so desire. Recently, I posted a picture on Instagram that was a little bit more of an androgynous fit in a very masculine position, leaning on a bench. Women aren't obsessed with sexualizing me. They just see the confidence, they see me trying new things, and they resonate with it. Point being to all of that, if Emma Watson, if Brittany Broski, if Florence and the Machine are all single women who struggle to find their partner, I'm not so feeling so sad being in this camp. It also made me think of this recent Vogue article that has been circulating again on TikTok. Is having a boyfriend embarrassing now? So let me read a little bit from it for you. The article comments on how when people get boyfriends, a lot of their content tends to then center around that man, leading a lot of people to lose interest or even want to mute that person to not have to see that content. So people have been leaning into more subtle ways to show their partners. We see this referred to as the soft launch. You might see a hand on a steering wheel, the back of someone's head, the date night dinner, etc. The article reads, so what gives? Are people embarrassed by their boyfriends now, or is something more complicated going on? To me, it feels like the result of women wanting to straddle two worlds. One where they can receive the social benefits of having a partner, but also not appear so boyfriend obsessed that they come across as quite culturally loserish. They want the prize and celebration of partnership, but understand the norminess of it. I find this concept so interesting to contemplate as a single woman who's essentially never had a partner. Historically, for women, finding a partner has been the ultimate goal. And that is no longer the case. If anything, now that women have the choice and the autonomy to live alone, to lead their own lives, and not depend on a husband, they have found that that is a much more peaceful and fulfilling way of life. It makes me think about the relationships that I've observed in my real life and my experience in dating. And I am sort of like a no bullshit kind of person when it comes to dating. If you treat me wrong once, it's done. But I have witnessed time and time again, women making themselves smaller, putting aside their interests to essentially secure a man or have a boyfriend. And there's nothing more depressing than seeing a woman's light dim out due to a relationship. My hope is for myself and for everyone is that you find someone who only brightens your light, who only makes you feel more yourself, more comfortable. A partnership is meant to support one another and root for one another from the sidelines, not dampen someone's light. I've always imagined if I ever do get a partner that I would like to post some cutesy content with them. And yes, I'm sure some people follow me with romantic, parasocial feelings towards me and would maybe unfollow or mute when they saw I had a partner. But I think that's sort of universal. You get like crushes on these people on the internet and then you're like, oh no, they have a boyfriend, they have a girlfriend, I can't fake imagine myself with them. On the Delusional Diaries podcast, fronted by two New York-based influencers, Hallie and Jazz, they discuss whether having a boyfriend is lame now. Why does having a boyfriend feel Republican? Read a top comment. Boyfriends are out of style. They won't come back in until they start acting right. Read another comment with thousands of likes. This is another big part of it. There is such a wide gap between men and women right now in terms of emotional capacity, in terms of values. I know men who go down the alt-right pipeline, have some extremely conservative beliefs, and under the Trump administration, I think a lot of men fall down that alt-right pipeline a little bit. I think they're really influenced by those male bro podcasters, but it just furthers the divide between men and women. And not saying that I necessarily do this, there's of course good men in the world, but you almost like give a little side eye to women who get in a relationship. Like, what values did you put aside to be with this man? Obviously, there's nuance here. I know plenty of great men, but it's interesting to think about. The article reads, "From my conversations, one thing is certain. The script is shifting. Being partnered doesn't affirm your womanhood anymore. It is no longer considered an achievement, and if anything, it's becoming more of a flex to pronounce yourself single. Obviously, there's no shame in falling in love, but there's also no shame in trying and failing to find it, or not trying at all. Where being single was once a cautionary tale, you'll end up a spinster with loads of cats, it is now becoming a desirable and coveted status. Another nail in the coffin of a centuries-old heterosexual fairy tale that never really benefited women to begin with." And I just find this entire concept extremely fascinating, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it. To be a single woman is a powerful thing and something that has gone against century-old rhetoric of your worth being tied to being in a relationship. So, I guess I like being single after all. Guys, I re-downloaded Hinge. Shame. It's true. I am back on the dating apps after almost a 8-month stint of being off of them. I've decided and I feel ready to have a new perspective on dating. I had a crush back in September who I met at a party through a mutual friend. And we had really great chemistry. I was really vibing with him and into him. And then it just sort of fell off and his interest dropped and whatever. It ended. The same cycle happened that has happened to me a million times before, where I feel like I have a great connection with someone. They stop pursuing or it ends in whatever capacity, and I take it so personally. Logically, there's a million reasons that didn't work out. Probably one of the main ones being, though, that they don't want to be in a relationship, or at least not with me, which is totally fine. But I was starting to notice a pattern with myself where I get really attached really quickly. When I'm only dating one person, I sort of lose sight that there are plenty of fish in the sea that I could get along with. Where my limerence girls at? Where my limerence baddies? Those who were not loved as a child and had to fantasize that they were being loved. So my new strategy is to date as many people as I possibly can. Of course, within reason. And I've been doing this for over a month now, and I have to say, this feels much better on my mental health. Guys, dating is not that serious. I almost feel like I was going on dates with people being like, is this the one? Like totally amping it up in my head and making it so intense for no reason, when really these early stages of dating are not so serious. You're just sort of getting to know people and seeing if you're compatible like that and if you want the same thing. So I've probably been on dates with like 4 people. I've been on dates with people. That's all you have to know. No, actually, yeah, maybe like 5 or 6 new people. And what's also fantastic about this strategy is someone who is doing the right things and letting me know they're interested will stand out amongst the rest. Instead of me, what feels like chasing for their validation or their interest, they will come forward with it and they'll stand out amongst the other suitors. We are doing the Hunger Games for my affection. May the odds be ever in your favor. And it's also not that serious either. I'm trying to make connections with people romantically. Sue me, I want to fall in love. Also, just in daily life, which is something I've been talking about with my friends, I'm just being a little flirty. I'm sort of being a little flirty with everyone. It's fun, dude. Who doesn't love a little cheeky flirtiness and a little kiss here and there? I know I do. I think it's important to remind myself that I live in the biggest city in the United States. The world is truly my oyster. There is a never-ending pool of men to choose from. And of course, that's a double-edged sword where, people don't really want to settle down as quickly because there's so many options here. But I need to keep in mind that my options are open. So that's what I've been trying to do. I'm asking people out. People are asking me out. It is fun. I'm having a fun time, okay? Also, I must confess, with the sun setting at 5 p.m., the lonely hours are creeping in. I might need a little boo thing for winter. Also, with trying to date lots of people, I'm trying to get used to rejection as an experience. Not only me receiving the rejection, but also me giving it out. I truly feel like it's a practice of my confidence and my ability to know myself. As a long-time people pleaser, I've pushed away my emotions and my experiences to try and appease someone else. But that is really not helpful in dating. Anyway, I wanted to share my Hinge profile because, not to toot my own horn, but toot, I've been getting lots of likes. I feel inundated on the app and it's a bit overwhelming actually. But I love looking at other people's dating app profiles, so let's show you mine. And if you are an audio listener, I'm going to describe this to the best of my ability. The first picture is sort of an up-close shot of me leaning on my dresser, very light makeup, my hair is wavy, it's natural texture, and it's just a great face shot. It's just a little soft smile. I'm looking tan and beautimous. This was from my birthday photo shoot in August, so very recent, very accurate portrayal of what I look like. I think it's important for your first picture, first of all, has to be a solo shot. I do not want to have to look through your friends to figure out who you are, and a good face shot, like, hello, this is me. So my first prompt is, I go crazy for a man who yearns. A man who yearns is a man who earns. I am looking for Mr. Darcy level of yearning. That is the kind of relationship I want. I need you to be obsessed with me, not in a scary way, but in the way just how I like. A lot of men respond to that prompt. Next up, some of the info. 27, I'm 5'5". I'm really 5'4 3/4, but I'll say 5'5". Where I'm located, liberal, looking for a long-term relationship. I'm a Leo, and I drink sometimes. I feel like that's all the information you need. I don't have my job on there because it feels complicated to explain my job, and I feel like people are sometimes judgmental of me being a content creator. It is what it is. This next picture I just took like 2 weeks ago. It's very fall. It's me looking a little more my traditional style, wearing some dark makeup, little black dress. People were eating this up on Instagram, so there you go. Next is a picture I took in the park bathroom. A lot of people were like, take this one down, like it has a toilet in it. Men do not give a fuck. Men see a hot girl and that's all they see. So This picture, I'm wearing no makeup. I have like a braid in my hair and I'm having some slight ab definition. So I feel like that's pretty hot. Then my next prompt is dating me is really cool and chill and fun. I do not like Hinge prompts. I find them difficult, but I'm just not gonna care that much. Next picture is like a mirror selfie, having my AirPods on my little carabiner. They need to know I'm a part of the LGBTQIA. Okay, this next prompt I need to change because Halloween is over, but it says we're the same type of weird if Halloween is also your favorite holiday. I liked having this because I love talking about Halloween. I also need to know if you're spooky, scary, or if you're down for the vibes. My next picture, I am like sitting on the grass smiling at a music festival I went to this summer. It shows my leg tats, which are pretty sexy, and it's just a good smiling picture. And then finally, another picture from my photo shoot, probably my most like scandy pic. It's me laying on my bed in my undies, the little cardigan just buttoned at the top. Very sexy, very pretty. I like it. That is my Hinge profile. Again, I think it has served me right so far. Being on the dating apps is interesting. First of all, I go so much off of vibes that I find it incredibly difficult to walk the line of like giving someone a chance. Maybe I'm not that initially attracted to them, but their personality could shine, or like the opposite. They seem hot and good and then you meet them in person and it's just not a match. Maybe that is just the dilemma of modern dating, but it's hard to know what to put your energy behind. I do want to share a little story of one of the first dates that I've been on, being back on the apps, where I was sort of an asshole and I feel bad about it. Guys, sometimes the autism comes through. Sometimes I can't hold her in and I do things that are rude, and I don't mean them to be rude, but I'm just a very blunt person and like straightforward with how I feel. So can get me into a little bit of trouble. Basically, had some good banter with this guy. He has to go on a coffee date. Okay, fine, let's go on a coffee date. For me personally, I can sort of tell almost instantaneously if I'm going to vibe with someone. And so the first minute in, I don't know, I sensed that it wasn't a connection from my end. He was nice. He talked a lot about himself. Halfway through the date, I was like, okay, I feel like I know everything about your life story and you know nothing about me. I also just sensed that we weren't really compatible as people. He gave me sort of more party bro vibes, which is totally cool. I love that for you, my guy. But I like to wake up early and go to workout classes and eat clean. I just wasn't vibing. I just wasn't sensing the connection. So we're sitting on a bench and I just sort of blurted out, how do you think this is going? I'm a menace to society. I am a menace to men. And he was like, oh, like, I think it's going good, like, blah, 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 blah. How do you think it's going? And I was like, I'm not so sure. I am an asshole. I am a jerk. That wasn't a nice thing to say in retrospect. Okay, not my best moment. And I felt really bad because that very clearly like stumped him, and he wasn't expecting that response. So of course I like backtracked a little bit, which was still true. I was like, I'd still see you again. I just feel like we like live different lives and whatever. And I was like, I'm sorry. I just like prefer to like be upfront and blunt and whatever. I just thought, why have like these awkward interactions on text afterwards when we could just like talk about it in person right now. That was sort of my perspective with saying that. Did I pull it off flawlessly? Not really. Not really. So I think I'm trying to find the balance also between being a people pleaser and being a little too honest, being a little too upfront about what I'm feeling, because that can be not nice. Anyways, never heard from him again. On the other side of that coin, I went on some dates with this boy who I felt like I had a really good connection with. He was like very nerdy, which I was into. I was like, give me a nerd with no social media. But we were supposed to go to the Met on Saturday, and he ended up canceling, unfortunately. So what's good about dating other people is I can just like sort of shift my attention away. Like that was a connection I was excited about, but next a little bit, like he'll have to prove himself if this connection is worth pursuing. Apparently I have a lot to talk about with dating. I'm also wanting to be a little bit more bold in person. If I'm having a flirty little connection with someone, like being like, hey, do you want to go out sometime? Or like, I think you're super cute and fun and nice. Like, we should go out. and just seeing what happens. Like, all I can do is say no, and that's totally cool. Or like, there's this boy influencer based out of New York who I think is just the cutest thing, and I sort of want to ask him out. I've never met him, but I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? They say no. I think it's cool to have balls and like ask the guy. Last thing I'm going to say about dating is I really do want to like be sharing my experiences with you all, but I have run into trouble before where I've shared my experiences, the people I'm talking about follow me or look into the content and either don't want to be talked about on the internet, which fair enough, or like, I don't know. I've run into trouble about being too honest with my audience about my dating life, so I'm sort of keeping it under wraps a little bit. I'm just know I'm enjoying my time. If anything super funny happens, I'm sure I'll share it, but that is what is going on in my dating life. Wrapping up today's episode, let's go through songs of the week. Like I mentioned earlier in the episode, She Wants Revenge. I love them. I have so many of their songs favorited, but Tear You Apart is a great place to start. Sultry, it's slutty, it's dark, it's gothic, it's everything. Their other songs, Sister, Your Love, Out of Control, I Don't Want to Fall in Love, Red Flags, and Long Nights, all of it, mwah, chef's kiss, beautiful. I've also been listening to a lot of The Cure. The Cure is so fall coded to me. Lullaby, In Between Days, A Letter to Elise, you know the vibes. And then Florence and the Machine, one of the greats, Sympathy Magic, again, all of it. It's witchy, it's fantastic, it's angry, it's great. The last piece of media that I will mention is from Jeff Hiller. I've been listening to his book, Actress of a Certain Age, My 20-Year Trail to Overnight Success. I found him from the show Somebody Somewhere, which is probably one of, if not my favorite show that I came across this past year. The show itself is about people who are a little bit later in life dealing with grief and chosen family, and he's one of the actors in it. His book is really relatable to late bloomers and people who have found success later in life. And I'm only 27, but I often feel like I come across milestones a little bit later than everyone else. I just think he's so funny. I love that he also lives in New York and talks about those experiences because they are, of course, very relatable to me, and I would highly recommend. I've been listening to it on my walks. Okay, guys, I think that is everything from me. Thank you so much for listening, watching, like, comment, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!